Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I am still trying to get in the old crafting groove after the 4-day long weekend for Labor Day. And of course, you'll be seeing this video quite a long time after that weekend. But the challenge for me is now, and it's real. So, this is Tuesday, September 2nd, and tomorrow I will be interviewing April, aka Mama Juju, Crafting on the Back 40. So as I was doing some research by watching, binge watching some of her videos, I came across a series of videos that she has on hidden pockets. And I love the idea so much, I've never done it before, that I went a little nuts. So let's show you the two that I have decorated, the ones that I have done to a certain point, and ones that I haven't started at all. So this was the first one I did. Now I used a gel print of my own. I believe it's part of a digital kit that I have, and I had done some mark making on it as well. So the essence of the idea is that you pick whatever kind of paper you want, and I'll show you the different kinds as we go along. And you basically have an attached journaling card that tucks into the pocket. Now, I use some wide washi. I use this puffy sticker, some bling, some string, and a butterfly, and of course this ribbon. So, that tells you that you can decorate it as much or as little as you want to. Another thing that I love using, because I have so many of them and because they're so effective, is napkins. So this was a little cocktail napkin that said, "Live it up." I've had this piece of music on my desk for quite a long time. So in this case, I just used this sort of soft blue, teal, turquoisey color. Because this was music page, it wouldn't have been really a journaling spot, so I covered it with a piece of something or other, cardstock type material, and added some, scrapbooking kit punch outs. So those are the two that I have done. So then what I started doing was looking through my scraps and looking through the inches and inches worth of digitals that I've purchased and not used, or freebies that I've printed and not used. Excuse me. So let's show you what I've done so far. And I also, now this is cardstock. It almost looks like watercolor paper. And so basically, this was a freebie, I believe, from Uppercase Magazine. This is a digital. And in this case, I used something that I had salvaged from a mixed media calendar type thing. And I'd shown that a long time ago in a haul video, and of course had never done anything more with it. That's a digital. I'm not going to be able to remember all of the companies or the people, but this was a Ukrainian a designer in Ukraine that I had purchased some kits from a long time ago when Russia invaded, and I wanted to do some support. Not sure whose kit this is. It's very much a faded kind of, background color. I also have, and you've seen the little bin where I have, a variety of sizes of cardstock ready to go. And you can see that, you know, there is some give because you want your card to slide in smoothly, but it also doesn't take much to match the design and have it all lined up. This is actually the same piece of paper. I just tore it in half lengthwise. Now, I'm not sure. It probably is visible. It's certainly visible to me. The card in this blue cardstock inside does not go all the way up to this thinner paper, and that may look a bit goofy. So, you know, the possibility also exists that I trim that off and just, you know, touch up the glue if necessary. So, of course, these pockets can be, okay, so with this one, where I've done a bit on the back side, this I envision just paper clipping into a journal and having it free floating. This one could be glued down. So with any of these, they could be glued down to the page. The bottom half of it could be glued in a U, you know, either way, obviously, to create an additional tuck spot or pocket. So the possibilities are endless. This was a lovely, where's my seam here? Sometimes I did such an awesome job. Oh, see, my little seam is right there. So that's actually the back. What did I use here? And I was, you know, maybe the, what I, okay, let's do this very gingerly. What I was trying to do was use up what I already had. So sometimes, oh dear, sometimes it may not be an absolutely perfect match. Okay, I'm going to have to do a wee bit of something there because clearly I'm tearing the paper as I'm trying to unstick it. Well, let's just pull the Band-Aid off. Ugh. Okay, so now I have a little owie, right, speaking of Band-Aids, right there and right there. So what I would do, even though this is the back side, I will now be, well, I guess I have two options. Either glue it down as is, and no one will ever be the wiser, or put, you know, a tiny bit of something, either paper or ribbon, all around that to cover that little tear. I was like, you know, a lean, mean creating machine as I was doing these, so I'm not surprised that something went awry. This was also a neutral digital, and oh, you can't tell on this one, but I have several pieces of cardstock, this craft card that were had scalloped sides around them, so it must have been a die cut. So where I could save the scallop, I did. Where I couldn't, because you'll see there's quite a bit of fine tuning at the last minute to make sure everything is just right. I should also, just for the heck of it, some of you may be curious, unless I'm the last one on the planet doing this, you may be curious about size. So this one is 7.5, so it would still fit in a regular size journal. And you don't really want to go much wider than 5. But again, I can feel where the craft card ends, so I could shorten this if I was tight for space. I see that I didn't finish this one. I must have been powering out, so we'll throw that one aside. That, again, is half of that same piece of paper. This was somebody's kit. Oh, see, I was able to save the scallop at the bottom. Obviously, the top would be hidden, and the sides had to be trimmed off in order to, you know, to make this fit. Makes it a little more challenging getting it in and out as well. Now, of course, I haven't done, this is 4 3/4. I haven't done any decorating on these, as you can tell. And the option, of course, is there to just leave them kind of partially done and wait and see, where they're going to be used, or if I'm were to give them away or sell them, who let the recipient do the decorating. Now, this was a very dark and dramatic gel print that I had done and printed, and then I did some mark making on it. Some gold there to emphasize some of the shapes that were evident. So, and this is a mixed, oh, see, I didn't put anything on the back. I don't know if I will, to be honest. This is, it's raised. So somebody obviously had done this, had used texture paste, and I can see that there were pieces of tape underneath. So again, it's a way to use this up. And it also is kind of a, a pleasant surprise. And certainly anybody could journal over that. Sorry, I'm getting hoarse. You'd think I've been talking for days. I should say that the only reason I'm able to do this, oh, I see. The only reason I'm able to, here's another piece of that, do this video today. This side I covered up because it had a boo-boo there, part of a tag that was missing, is because I thought that we were going to start combining today, but the wheat is testing a bit tough because of all the smoke, forest fire smoke, and the cloudier or hazy conditions. It hasn't been drying as well as it should be, despite it being a good temperature. Okay, so this is another one of that Ukrainian ladies things. And so I have a few others here that are ready to work on. So I'll put these guys aside because nothing more is going to happen with them. And I don't honestly think that I have time to do any, decorating either, because I don't want the video to be that long. Okay, so basically you take whatever piece of paper you want to use, and it could be anything. In the video that Mama Juju did, she was using painty papers, and she actually layered a couple of papers. She layered a painty paper over maybe a second painty paper. I don't know. I haven't done that, but I guess that layering effect could always be done. Like, for instance, on something like this, I could see adding, a contrasting tissue or napkin or vellum or, whatever a person might want. So I don't think you probably need my ideas on how to decorate. But maybe you do need a bit of help on how to make this, because I know I was baffled. Okay, so this would have been, the full sheet of paper as it came out of the printer. These, obviously, a person saves. So, well, let's see. So it's probably 8. Yeah, it's over 8 inches tall. So what I had done was first of all, I selected all these papers, in an attempt to be a little more efficient and do a bit of a mass make. So I trimmed them down to size if necessary. I tore them in half if I wanted to. I folded them. Did I fold first, or did I look for cards first? I can't remember. I may have looked. No, I folded first. And you, of course, could do whatever you want. So in order to, make this hold together, in this case, I have this very narrow little border. Well, I guess what I should, and I was using, for a change of pace, I was using my Tombow mono liquid glue, pen tip and broad tip. I don't know, I'm just not sure why. So basically, you want to close the pocket. You want to close the bottom. Well, I guess I want to do both here. Okay, maybe before that dries, I can also run a bead off glue stick along there. So now when I close this up, I've done it in one sort of operation. Not sure why that looks crooked. And I found that I needed to keep my little paper trimmer, which, let me get it, very handy, because it is, unless you love math and want to do millions of measurements, it does seem to make sense to just have your trimmer nearby. So, you know, there's a teeny bit of overlap there that I don't like, so I'm going to take that hair off. Okay, so this is what I have. This is the card I intend to use inside. And so the card may not need any trimming. But you'll see, probably in some of these examples, you'll see that, you know, I might need to trim it twice. So you then remove the card. And, okay, what did I say this was? 8.5, so that's too tall. I can sacrifice more off the design at the top, so let's maybe just cut that off there. That isn't quite straight. Now, a sensible person will throw this out, so I'm trying to be a sensible person. So at that point, it now makes this longer, and you can see how you keep going back and forth. But I now want to make the top part. So that is just a random decision. Obviously, the deeper, the wider you make this top cut, the more of the journaling card you lose. But this is still a really good size, like, so I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so now, and again, and you want your card to be obviously narrower than the pocket. I don't know why I'm having difficulty getting this in there. Is it because my little flap was so narrow? Shouldn't be. One thing I didn't do was I didn't round any of the corners. Okay, so you can see on either side here, it's just a really teensy-weensy little difference. On this one, you can see, when I show you the gap, you can see it's about, well, maybe an eighth, well, more than an eighth of an inch on either side. Again, you wouldn't want to put, you know, if this is 4 inches, you wouldn't want to put a 2 or 3 inch tag inside, because it's going to, well, it'll probably look a little funny, but it will also give too much slack and too much movement, is my opinion. Okay, so we know that this is going to be the top cover for this. By pushing it together, I see that, okay, now my green journaling card is, you know, a good 1/2 inch too tall. So again, I take it out. Lets me get this off. And I'm not going to, you know, risk, you know, taking 1/2 an inch off when maybe it should be 5/8 or 3/4. So I'm just going to eyeball it, take off what I believe is the right amount, put it back in, and this is what I mean about sort of the fiddliness of this craft, but I think it's definitely worth it. So now you can see that I'm pretty darn close to the green is pretty close to the edge of this thing. So what I discovered after you do enough of these things is that it made my gluing process a wee bit easier. Now I've already moved this slightly. Let's get this back in here. Honestly, I think I need to shave this down a bit because something keeps binding and we don't want it to be binding. So let's just, I haven't rounded any of the bottom corners, but that could be another option for smoother in and out. Okay, so we've got that in there. And you can, well, maybe you couldn't see, but I also my seam, my overlapped seam is right here on this one. It's over here on this one. It's right here on this one. So, you know, maybe this business of folding, having such a narrow little lip wasn't the best thing ever. But what I was trying to do was get the best off the design. Okay, so we've got this thing sitting in here now. This is the piece. This is what's going to match up. Now, if I carefully lift this out of there, I've got nothing extending here, which is good. I don't have a gap like this because the card is too long, so that's good. And what I discovered is if I make a teensy-weensy little mark on both sides, because of course we're gluing both sides, then I had less of a glue issue. Now, what you're going to discover in a second is that it's pretty impossible to glue both sides of the same piece of paper at the same time. So I was forced to sort of do this in midair, because of course if I lay this down, then it's sticking to my little glue magazine there. So not maybe the most, attractive or efficient way to do it. And, it would be different if I was, maybe I should stick this, well, no, let's not. So at this point, it's kind of important. Now, I didn't want to use art glitter glue because, of course, the quick grab would be driving me insane in short order. So I'm now just trying to line it up to my two marks. When I drew a line across the entire card, of course, then I had, a bit of a mess, and then I couldn't erase the line, and so on and so on. So put a little pressure, get that adhered well. And now in this case, because this sunflower paper is taller than the green card, I also, let's use this, have to go in and close this up. Looks like I didn't do a very good job of gluing that. But again, it becomes a bit of a challenge when you're doing it, in midair. So we put this back in. and miracle of miracles, it matches and it's ready for further decorating, or it's ready to be put aside and, you know, wait until you're ready to decorate. Now, the fact that I have this, you know, probably not going to help me with the decorating part. So I have these few others ready to go, but I'm not going to take you through the steps because I think I did it slowly enough and explained it well enough that you don't need to see it a second time. Unless I show you this one, because we can see the card is quite a bit longer than it can be. So the first thing I'll do, again, just eyeballing that it's, you know, it's a generous inch that's too much. So I will, you know, take a bit more off. And of course, whether you keep these things or not is your business, your decision. So now that the card fits in there, I will decide where to cut this. Maybe I'll, just for a little bit of variety, I will make this a very shallow little top, which means that my journaling card will sort of be maximum size. And, you know, it would be easy enough to switch this around front to back. Of course, if it's a patterned paper, you want, see, in this case, I'm just going to eyeball it. No pencil lines. And you know, sorry, I shouldn't gasp. It's only glue. You know, you'll very soon get into a rhythm and figure out what it is that you can also tell front from back by your seam. So see, I had, whoops, I almost put that on upside down. I can see doing it backwards. Upside down would be even more interesting. So I'm trying to center this. Again, not always that easy when you have glue on both sides of something. And I think in this case, maybe I'll just make it flush with the top of the card just to show you another situation you might find yourself in. And now, because I made the card flush with the little decorative paper, the card may be too long, but that's easily remedied by taking whatever oh, see, it's all right. But in case there would have been a gap, I would have just trimmed the bottom of the card. Okay, the one I did want you to see, now I still have this one to do, but I wanted you to see this one because this one is a little more, this was a portrait, digital. And of course I love this, and that's why I end up with this teensy-weensy little thing here. Now I suppose, well, that's not going to help me. I was going to say I could have made this a bit, I could have done the fold a bit narrower, but 4 inches is fine. So, and this is what, I've already removed the scallops on the side. I know that this is going to fit. So, what I think I would be doing in this case is I will sacrifice some of this stuff at the bottom. You know, it's nice, but maybe this is nicer. So maybe I will cut it about there. So I've got some of the bow, but not all of it. So that makes my thing a little bit easier. But now we can see that So if I use the word commission as my guideline there, I guess I will cut it off right about there, which also means that I will still have a pretty usable piece of, you know, vintage document. So I still have all of this that I can use. Add that to my scraps. Add this to my scraps. Okay, so this is what I have now. Now, let's see how close am I. This might be a bit of a tight fit, but yet I kind of wanted to cut it off in the dip of the scallop. So let's just glue this down and see what we get. Now, in some cases, I didn't bother creating, you know, new scraps by making tiny little overlaps like this. I left the overlap, you know, it could have been 1.5 inches or 2 inches, whatever, just because, oh, see, the glue didn't even need to go all the way to the edge. Now, if you do a bigger overlap than this, then obviously it makes the pocket a bit stronger because, again, this is just regular copy weight paper. I've got a little glue I need to rub off there. Okay, now let's see if this card needs to be shaved down or whether it is going to go in and out quite smoothly. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, well, a little bit showing, but that's because I've lost some height here with the glue. So let's maybe do I kind of like it when the pattern, you know, I could cut it up here, but that's probably a little boring. It's more, to my eye, it's going to be more interesting if the flowers need to be lined up. So we put this guy back in. I think we can already tell that it's too long, so I might as well save a bit of time and cut off the scallop at the top because that will be hidden anyway. It's kind of nice, I think, that the scallop will be visible when people pull it out of there. Now, as I continued watching April's channel, Mama Juju's channel, I see that there was another hidden pocket video doing the same, essentially the same thing, but with greeting cards. I'm thinking, that is genius. Okay, so let's maybe make a little pencil mark here and here and here and here. So I really, as you can tell, I really like this idea. And again, I think that using a glue stick is about, well, I suppose if a person wanted to use Fabri-Tac, that you've got some working time with that as well. Again, probably now that I've worked out a bit of a system, the most awkward part is what you just saw here, this gluing in midair. Okay, so we want I want the right side facing me. I want to get this slipped on down to the mark. Whoops, and I also kind of want it centered left to right, east to west, which it is not. Oh, it really grabbed at the back here. Okay, come on, cooperate. Of course, this wasn't that big a deal when you guys weren't here watching. I suppose this is another little obstacle or potential problem. The wider you make the deeper you make the top piece of paper. Oh, for heaven's sakes. It grabbed and now it doesn't want to let go. I think I'm going to leave it there. If I have to, oh, here it's not touching either. It's not touching my mark. If I have to adjust the top, I guess I will. A little bit of gap. They are unglued part there. So this is where I go in with my Tombow and close it. Okay, let's test this baby. Don't tell me I have to trim the scallop. Oh, that's annoying. I thought I had calculated this quite carefully. Probably has to do with me gluing that top part a wee bit crooked. It is so close to being perfect or invisible that I'm not going to trim, because on something vintagey, I might break out the old distress glue and ink that, and that would help with that. Or I could, like I did here, use a ribbon. Not that my ribbon, you can see it's not flush with the edge. But if I needed that as a problem-solving strategy, I could. Yeah, it is. Boy, that annoys me. I don't really want to cut this top off right now. Not that that helps the problem, but maybe I have to sacrifice the scallop. See, if it wasn't for wet glue, I would probably trim the top as well. So I hope that this has been a simple enough explanation, demonstration, that you feel tempted to make a whole whack of these for yourself. Let's just, for the heck of it, see how many I have. Now, the only one that remains undone is this one. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's not too shabby. So, of course, I will do this one so that these guys are all at the same level of completion. And I might just go back in and trim the ones that extend beyond the card. So I hope you have loved this idea. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate and welcome new subscribers. As always, I welcome and appreciate people who have been here all along, people who have discovered me more recently. I do invite you to check out the series called Heart to Heart with Hazel. It's an opportunity to interact with people in the chat, to put questions to the guest, and to learn a little bit about the person behind the channel and channels that you may not even be aware of. You know, it's a mix of bigger and smaller channels. So anyway, I think this was going to be week 18. And as far as I'm concerned, we're going to keep going as long as you guys keep showing up. And as long as people keep saying yes to me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. And we shall see you in the next one. Bye.